Welcome to the Travelman Podcast. My name is Ben and I host this cool little podcast. If you're joining me for the first time, then I say thank you for listening. On today's awesome episode, I'll be talking to Joe McPherson, who created ZenKimchi Korean Food Journal. He's the editor, tour guide, and main guy behind the popular website blog, and he's based in Seoul, South Korea. We'll be talking Seoul, Korea, tours, things to do, foods to eat, places to see, you name it, so sit back and enjoy the podcast. Well, thank you, Joe, for joining me on the Travelman Podcast. It's taken a little while, but I know you're a very busy man.
We're here, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Thanks for joining me. So, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, but I'll get better. I'm having my coffee. This is Morning in Korea.
Morning in Korea. Sounds like a talk show. Mornings in Korea.
There we go. That's my new podcast.
So it's 11 a.m. there because it's about 2 p.m. here. Is that right?
It's 12. It's 12. It's noon. But I slept late today.
And what's the weather like at the moment? Is it nice?
It's a crisp autumn morning.
Oh, I was in Korea in autumn last year, and it was so lovely. I remember the first day when I arrived in Seoul, Mandy, my wife, and I went to Namsan Tower.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just looking at the different shades of yellow and reds and greens on the leaves, and it was so beautiful.
Yeah, autumn and spring are very intoxicating here.
Yeah. Do you believe that they're the two best seasons to come and visit Korea or Seoul?
By far, I would say September through November and mid-April through mid-June.
Right. Okay. So there you go, listener. Make sure you go in those months, and you'll be fine in Korea. What about summer? Is that hot there?
It can get really hot. It depends on your heat tolerance. I'm perfectly fine with it, but Canadians complain.
Right. So you're not Canadian then?
I am not Canadian.
You're a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, it does. It gets really humid late July and all the way through August. If you can handle the humidity, it's fine. It's fine. I especially, but in August, I recommend if you come, don't plan a lot of outdoor activity. It just gets grueling. Just from experience, talking to guests on my tours, they're just like, oh, I give up. They visit one palace and they can go back to their air conditioned hotel.
Yeah, it would be pretty hard walking around those palace areas because they're just huge slabs of pavement or paving stones, and it gets so hot. I remember being there in autumn and there was still a bit of heat radiating off them.
True. And there's no air conditioning in the palaces.
Yeah, that's true. No air conditioning back then, but those palaces were built like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, so people should know that there wouldn't be any air conditioning.
Well, they're rebuilt. A lot of them are rebuilt, but they're
rebuilt. Yes.
Yeah, there's been a lot of devastation over the centuries. There's some structures that are still original, but they've all been rebuilt according to traditional historical documents. But that's the way a lot of things are done in this part of the world. Is one person jokes that the Western idea of historical sites is to just leave them alone and just let them be, ruins. And the Eastern idea is to tear it down and build an exact replica.
Well, luckily they do keep all the notes.
Oh, yeah, everything's done. The trouble is with a lot of the palaces, if you read any of the history, they've burned down hundreds of times. And then during the colonial period, a lot of structures were torn down by the Japanese. And so they've had to rebuild a lot.
Do you recommend any palaces for people to go to if they're arriving in Seoul for the first time?
Yeah, I actually wrote a blog post about this on my website, koreafoodtours.com. Plug. Okay. As I fill my coffee.
That's ASMR.
Oh, yes. That was a little ASMR coffee right there for you.
Delicious.
I recommend the big one, Gyeongbokgung.
Gyeongbokgung.
The palace names, if you're not familiar with the names, and people have been here for years and they still get the names confused because they sound a little similar to the untrained ear. Gyeongbokgung, Doksugung, Cheongdokgung, Changgyeonggung, Gyeonghuigung. It's like, all right.
There's a lot of gung there.
So I call them the big one, the pretty one, the quirky one, the modern one, and the forgotten one.
Oh, that's nice.
The big one, Gyeongbokgung, is you'll see it. It's the main central palace that you see in all the tourism things. It's right at the end of Gwanghwamun Square, the big grand entrance to Seoul. I'd say that would be the best one to visit first. That's where all the crowds are too. But it's a pretty large palace. I mean, it's pretty big. It's pretty big. My little recommendations for that is there's a little area I like in the northeast corner near the Folk Museum, which is this multi-tiered building. There's a little village, that replica of a village from the 1970s, and it's created for school trips, but it's really fun to wander around this little replica of 1970s Korea.
Ooh,
there's even a working. No, it's just a little section of the palace that no one ever goes to. No one ever notices it's there. There are a few other. There's some beautiful stuff at Gyeongbokgung. The second place I recommend would be Cheongbukgung, because that's the one with the secret garden. Now that one you can only explore the secret garden with a guide, so that they'll check the list for English-speaking tour guides when the schedule is. It depends on how much time you have. If you have a lot of leisure time, explore all the palaces. If your time is short, just do one.
Just do one, yeah. So if you have, say, a week, would you recommend seeing a couple?
Yeah, I say see the first two. I recommend.
First two.
Yeah. Now, I have my own little affections for the lesser known palaces. Changgyeonggung, the quirky one. I love that one because there's also a little garden in the back of that one, in a cool turn of the century style greenhouse. I have really fun with. And the Gyeonghuigung is the forgotten one. Just has a spooky character to it because it is the most haunted palace in Korea.
Ooh, and you know me, I like haunted stuff. What makes it so haunted, sir?
We're trying to figure that one out. It's kind of like there's some historical cover up, because even the Korean, even in the Korean language, the native Korean speaking historians are like, we don't know what happened. It's like it was built, maybe some bad stuff happened there, and then the records are gone. Who knows? There might be a record somewhere, but there's not much information about the palace. All we know is that incidents have happened there, and incidents still happen there.
I wonder if it happened on purpose. If they got rid of any information, like terrible information or negative information, on purpose.
Don't know. Really don't know. It's just after a few generations, it was abandoned, left in disrepair.
Weird. It's like they left because there was some evil there that they couldn't fix or get rid of.
Yeah, I couldn't verify it, but it is a spooky, spooky palace.
And have you been there on a ghost tour yourself?
Yeah. Okay. So Sean and I do our tours reverse. Sean usually starts his tour there. I finish my tours there. And so when I finish my tour there, it's really nice and really spooky, and it's empty. No one goes there. Occasionally you might see people walking their dogs on the grounds, but you can actually get up on the steps and sit on the steps, and it's this empty palace. It's really eerie.
Okay. Is that the one where it kind of looks like a big parkland at the front?
Yeah, there's a big park in the front. And that's where people walk their dogs.
And they've been doing work to it as well?
Actually, right now they are. Right now, it looks like they're installing some pipelines and electrical lines on the grounds.
Weird.
Yeah, it likely will be done in a couple of weeks. So by the time people are listening to your podcast, it'll be done.
Okay. Yeah, that's very strange. Yeah, I remember going on that tour with Sean and checking out that place, and he said that some people on his tour could see ghosts and stuff around.
We've had
area.
a few sightings.
Very creepy.
My story is I had a young British man on the tour who was clairvoyant and very nervous about places. And when we were finishing the tour there, and he's sitting next to me, and he's like, "We shouldn't be here. We shouldn't be here." So he was taking pictures while I was talking about what others have said. And a few have said that there's a woman at the bottom of the stairs. And she's very curious about us, but she's also anxious for us to leave. And so he hands his camera over to me and says, "What's this?" And he had taken a picture of a lamppost, and there was an outline of a woman underneath the lamppost.
Oh, my God.
It's the only time on the tour I ever freaked out.
Really? Oh, my God. Do you still have that picture?
No. Okay. So I asked him for the picture later on, and he sent me something different. So but I do distinctly, that picture was so eerie the way that was done.
Oh,
outline of a woman.
That is so creepy. Oh man, I wish you had that picture.
Yeah, I want to get. I might bug him again and say, "Hey, could you send me all the pictures you took on the tour?"
Yeah, that would be good. Then you can post them up on the ZenKimchi Korean Food Journal website, which I want to talk to you about now.
Okay. Transition.
Yeah, yep. So transition. Yeah. Well, this is how I do my transitions. It's strange, but you got to just work with me.
Okay.
Now, did you start this in 2004, right?
Right. Basically, right before I got on the plane to go to Korea. And it was not really intentionally a blog. But yeah, it was. I mean, because 2004, most people, there weren't even many blogs in 2004. I had never heard of a blog in 2004.
Well, 2005 is when the first podcast came out. So, yeah. Now, you got onto, you started ZenKimchi Korean Food Journal after the decline of Fat Man Seoul's blog. Was that right?
Well, okay. This is how it was. Is I started. Yeah. I had my blog, but it really wasn't really. It was more like a website just to let my family see what was going on, so I didn't have to send mass emails to everyone. And I programmed it myself. I have a background in computers, so I was programming it myself. And after a while, I discovered that there were blogs, and there were food blogs. I'm like, wow, there's like websites dedicated, regularly updated, all about food and all these different segments. Niches. So I was looking for Korean food blogs to follow, and I couldn't find any except Fat Man Seoul, and he'd already shut doors. So I said, well, why don't I just do one, just as to fill in the void that he left behind. He had left for China, and we never heard from him again. I kept looking for him for years. And Fat Man Seoul was basically just him just taking pictures of his lunches and just talking about it. It wasn't really fancy or anything. So basically, it was me. That's why I called it a journal. It was me just kind of recording things I cooked, things I ate, weird things I saw.
Oh, that's cool. Was Fat Man from America like yourself?
I think he was. It was really hard to tell.
And you never obviously met up with him or got in contact?
No. A friend of mine really tried to track him down, and I think might have responded to an email, but who Fat Man is a mystery.
Wow, I love mysteries. So you've been in Korea, 15 years now? Or something like that?
Wow,
is that about right?
15 years. Almost 16 now. Wow.
Have you seen a lot of changes over those 15 years in Korea?
That's one reason I decided to stay after my first year. I saw so much change in that 1 year that I said to myself, okay, this is one place in my lifetime where history's happening. I think I'll stick around and watch.
That's so cool. And was food initially the factor that why you moved from the US to Korea?
Oh, there were many reasons I moved there. I've always been into food. I come from a kind of a restaurant family. My brother's a chef in Houston.
Okay, same here.
Oh, in Houston?
Yeah. Oh no, my family was also into food as well. My dad was a food critic.
Oh boy,
so
that must have been fun.
I've always loved food. Yeah, it was heaps of fun watching my dad get chucked out of restaurants. He had the nickname "Close 'em Downs."
Yeah,
so
I'm not a food critic. I'm not a food critic. I'm too positive to be a food critic.
Oh no, you got to have some negativity. It's fun.
I'm a curator. I'm real to the point where if I'm negative, it must be something really bad. If I'm negative, okay.
So where were we going? Houston.
The story.
Food.
The story was basically, I fell into studying Korean history at university. I fell in love with it.
Cool.
I got really obsessed with Korea, but after graduation, I was trying to make my fortune in the .com industry, and it decided to collapse when I got into it. So after a year of high-tech odd jobs making websites for dentists and lesbian rugby leagues, and a short stint as a radio producer, some friends of mine were here in Korea saying, "Hey, why don't you just come here and teach English?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, all signs are pointing to Korea. I think we'll go to Korea for a year." And then 15 years later.
So let's talk about that lesbian.
Oh, yeah. They might still exist. That was cool.
That is crazy. I know in America they've got it's like NFL, but it's with women in lingerie, isn't it?
Oh, does that still exist? I don't know. I'm sure I'm really out of touch with America these days.
Yeah. Well, so you probably haven't been back to America in a long time then?
Hardly. 2012 was the last time I had visited.
Okay, so
it's been 7 years.
Twice. I've been twice before you, so.
Wow.
Yeah. I like the place. I really like the US.
Yeah, it's there.
So, but I like Korea as well.
I can't be negative. I can't say anything like I can't be blasé about the U.S. because then I get negative comments. People saying like, "Why do you hate America so much?" I'm like, "Nah, I just don't worship America as much as some people. It's fine. It's a nice country."
Hey, that's fair enough. You know, in regards to Korea, where you are now, I still feel when I'm talking to friends or family or other travelers that they don't talk about Korea or they don't think of Korea as Japan or Singapore.
No, we're the flyover of Asia.
Yeah. It's really weird because Korea has got so much to offer people, you know.
Yeah, this is what I find so interesting with people on my tours is a lot of them really come to Korea as an afterthought. I mean, I really should say our tourism slogan should be, "I'm in the area, why not?"
Why not?
But what's funny is like they're planning. They usually go to Korea on their way to somewhere else. And then they realize, oh, wow, I really should have planned my vacation here instead. So they end up coming back. One story I have is on one of my barbecue tours earlier this year. It was three men, and one of them was a British man who was celebrating his 30th birthday in Seoul.
Oh, nice.
That day on our tour. And we said, why'd you come here for your 30th birthday? And he said, I traveled all around the world. And then my 30th birthday was coming. And I asked myself, where in the world would I want to go back to for my 30th birthday? Seoul. I'm going to go back to Seoul. That is the best place to party for my 30th birthday. And that's what it was. It was very much a party town. So right when he told us that, I said, okay, tour's over. We're going to Maloney's for some shots.
That is awesome. We
had a great time.
That is awesome. I love actually talking about shots and alcohol and stuff. The Koreans know how to drink, and they do love a drink. And they've got those awesome little drinking games.
Yes, the drinking games as well. Yeah. I don't play them as much as I used to because I'm 45 now. It just is not good for the body.
You don't look 45.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're
approaching
very
46 soon.
Wow. I'm turning 40 in February. Oh God, I didn't even know what birthday I had.
40's the new 21.
Yeah. What's your favorite Korean drink?
I'm a big fan of. Oh goodness. I don't like the green bottle industrial soju. I try to avoid that whenever I can.
Why is that? Is it just not that good?
It's not real soju. It's a fake soju that came about in the 60s.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was because of rice shortages and stuff that they made it illegal to make soju the traditional way. So you've had this whole generations brought up on this industrial stuff, diluted soju. I'm a big fan of. There's a really burgeoning craft soju industry popping up.
Craft soju, like craft beer.
Yeah, Korean alcohol is amazing when done well. There are Chinese records from 3,000 years ago saying that the people on the Korean Peninsula made the best alcohol. And it was well respected. I don't have any hard evidence, but I'm finding hints that during the Hideyoshi invasions and before then, there were pirates in the 16th century from Japan pillaging Korea a lot, and they kidnapped a lot of artisans, particularly pottery makers. But now I'm finding evidence they might have kidnapped a lot of alcohol artisans, and suddenly people.
Sake.
And yeah, suddenly historians noticed that sake got better in Japan after the 16th century.
Oh, that's interesting.
And the pottery got much better.
yeah, true.
So good. There's all these categories of Korean alcohol and these great artisans that are reviving all these old traditions. Soju is one thing that actually comes from North Korea. That was developed up there because of I think preservation techniques or such. My little story about soju was, since it was a North Korean drink, people in Seoul didn't really know it, but Seoul also was what was called Hansong at the time. That was where the center of power was, and all the aristocrats, the Yangban, would go to Seoul to take the meritocracy exam to get into the meritocracy. That's a big deal, and so people are scholars, aristocrats are traveling far and wide and settling in Seoul to study and get ready for the exam. There's this one neighborhood in Seoul, Gyeongbokgung, which is coincidentally where we do our some of our food tours, our barbecue tour and our chicken tour.
Cool.
Gyeongbokgung is where a lot of the North Koreans were based, and the wives of the aristocrats made soju and sold it to help pay for their housing. And that's where soju got popular in Seoul, that one little neighborhood.
Huh. That's really cool. I'll have to go to that neighborhood if I go back to Seoul, which I might.
The thing is, there's only one or two real traditional soju bars in that area these days.
Oh, okay.
But there's some really great ones. So if you can get traditional soju, which is pretty high in alcohol but smooth. There was one time I had a couple. There's this one pub in northern Hongdae I like to go to, San Ulam 1992. It's my favorite place for this, and took them there after a tour because they were only at a short time and they really wanted to try the real stuff. So okay, let's go there. If we'll split the bill or something. But they really wanted to try the high end stuff, so they actually bought like $100 bottle of soju, and it's bigger than your usual bottles. It's around the size of a wine bottle, and
it's a lot of soju.
It was 50% alcohol. I think it was 40. And we're busy having a good time. We're talking, and then I looked and I noticed, and I'm like, oh, well, guys, we better slow down. We had already drunk half the bottle. We hadn't even noticed it.
Oh my God.
So
were you guys pretty drunk?
I think we were, but we couldn't feel it. It was so smooth. You don't even feel it.
Yeah.
My other favorites are makgeolli. A lot of people know the makgeolli, which is the form of takju, which means rough liquor. That's all the cloudy, looks like milk. It's not at all like milk. It's cloudy because of the rice powder.
I've had that stuff. That's good.
Yeah, it can be fizzy. It can be flat.
Flat. Yeah,
still
flat.
is the word I think you use. The connoisseurs like it a little still and a little on the funky sour side, and it's an expression of the local terroir. I'm a big fan of the makgeolli. There's one particular brand I like called Iwa Baekju, and it's a category called champagne makgeollis, and it's in a very tall bottle, and it takes you like 8 minutes to open it because it's so pressurized.
Yeah,
but it's minerally, it's light, it's clean, it's a little on the funky side, and that is the marker of Korean alcohol is its funkiness, the traditional stuff. The reason is, I say the big difference between Japanese and Korean styles is the Japanese aesthetic is about controlling things, controlling nature. And you think of the bonsai tree, Japanese gardens, Japanese architecture. Sake is the same thing. Brewers of sake, they will order their molds from a government lab, and they actually have all these different DNA strands in their catalog, and they're very precise about how they put together their sake. The Korean aesthetic is pretty much going around nature. If you see like a traditional Korean table, it follows the contours of the tree trunk. It's like a crooked table. The Korean garden is plan it and forget it. And the Korean way of making alcohol is using a starter called nuruk, which is usually a wheat cake, some type of grain cake, and that's left up in the air, and it traps all the local yeast. And that is used to start the alcohol process. So the Korean alcohol is very much about terroir. It's about whatever yeast is in the air at the time in that area. And so that's why it's so difficult to mass produce, to industrialize traditional Korean alcohol, because each batch is different. It's just like vintages of wine. Each vintage is different. And so it's so fascinating when you try a really proper soju and you taste the funkiness of it. I just love it. I'm in love. If you really like it, my friend of mine, Julia Mellar, she's Australian, but she's the expert on this. She's fluent in Korean, and she's fluent in Korean because she talks to all the producers in Korean. And so the Korean word for this is Seoul, Sool. And look her up on the Seoul Company or theseoulconnection.com.
The Seoul Connection. Okay, I will.
Yeah, the Seoul Connection is her new website. I'm helping her with it. It's still not green lighted, but it's on social media and such if you want to follow it. And we're talking more about the glories of traditional Seoul Korean alcohol. And there's also Cheongju. Cheongju is another grade. It's an in between makgeolli and soju. I call it that way. So when you're making your takju, your base starter, it's the same way sake is made actually. Similar. It'll settle. So the cloudy stuff's on the bottom, and then you have this clear golden liquid on top. And back in the Chosun dynasty, only the royalty and some of the aristocrats were allowed to drink that, while the peasants got all the cloudy stuff at the bottom. So the stuff at the top is called Cheongju. And then if you take Cheongju and you distill it, that's soju.
Only the top part, though.
Yeah. So think of it as these three things. Think of white, cloudy white, clear yellow, and then clear white, clear silver. If you talk about tequila, it'd be silver. And I really do compare traditional soju to Mexican mezcal, and it's just similar properties. And
I love
gorgeous.
Mexican mezcal.
Yeah,
that's the best.
It's beautiful. It's a sipping soju. It's a beautiful thing. Anyway, okay, you got me on one of my tangents on alcohol.
That was awesome. That was like a 15-minute soju special.
Oh wow! Really, you should get Julia. You should get Julia. She's much more of an expert. Most of what I'm telling you is stuff that Julia's told me, so I think I'm co-opting what she says.
What should I just have a soju special or something?
Yeah, do a whole Seoul special. Oh
Seoul
god, it's so
special.
exciting! It's such an exciting world. I'm really, gosh,
Love
if you come to Korea and if you
I'm coming back.
if you
I'm
enjoy
coming
the tipple, really
Yes.
try to find the stuff.
Tipple? Did you say tipple or nipple?
Tipple.
Nice.
What's the rating of this podcast? Okay.
It's R. No.
Oh, no. Careful.
Good. Hey, you know when you're obviously drinking alcohol, you've got to eat stuff. Do you know my favorite thing is stir-fried rice cakes?
Oh,
Yeah.
the stir-fried ones.
Tteokbokki?
Tteokbokki.
Tteokbokki.
Just think of it. Duck. Like a duck. Tteokbokki.
Tteokbokki. That's my favorite. And I also like bibimbap, which is a rice-based beef dish that you mix different ingredients with.
Yeah. It's not
egg
really
on top.
considered a drinking food, though. Bibimbap isn't.
No?
But you get a lot of soups that are drinking foods.
Okay. Well, they're two things that I love, and also love.
Oh, yeah.
Bulgogi, the thinly sliced beef, mushrooms, green onions, stuff like that.
Bulgogi, yeah.
And japchae, the
Japchae.
stir-fried glass. Japchae, yeah, stir-fried glass noodles with different veggies and stuff. But, I mean, I'm sure you could eat that stuff and drink alcohol at the same time, couldn't you?
Oh, yeah, you could. It's just you don't want to eat rice. Rice is considered a meal, not a drinking food.
What's a drinking food then, considering we're talking drinking?
It's funny because a lot of what we consider meals in the West are considered drinking foods in Korea, like fried chicken.
Oh, I love
Things like
fried
that.
chicken. Jeez, I've had some awesome fried chicken in Seoul.
Yes.
Amazing fried chicken. I actually sourced Seoul's best fried chicken restaurant. It's in a suburb. I guess, are they called suburbs in Seoul?
Sure,
Districts.
whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I sourced this place, and there was no English anywhere.
Those are
But
the
I
best.
looked online for it, and yeah, Mandy and I had a great night eating awesome fried chicken, and then trying to get home.
The thing is, you
So
could
that's great.
eat fried chicken every day for 1 year, and you still wouldn't have explored all the styles of Korean fried chicken. It is so vast.
Yeah. What are some of the styles?
Okay, there's oh goodness, there's Yetnal style, Yetnal Tondak, which is very old fashioned. I kind of, it's basically a whole chicken that is very lightly breaded and fried twice,
Oh,
and then it's chopped up. Then a variation of that is what I call 90s style, which is the style of tutu fried chicken and chicken bangi and popo chicken, which is also that thin crust, but it also has sort of a Chinese 5-spice aroma. Then there's the Kyochon style, which is the wet batter, which a lot of people are familiar with.
yeah. I think, yeah.
They're also the more modern styles tend to be more like American style with a flour-based crust, and it's very thick. And there's some really good chains that do that. I would say like BHC does a pretty good version. BBQ. BBQ is a very unique flavor. And then there's some really bad chains, but I won't go into that. There's just so many styles. And then with each place, there's so much competition for different flavorings for the chicken. So they all have so many different sauces and powders they throw in there. One of the new ones I like from BHC, new as in they came out with it, I think 2 years ago, is their curry chicken, Indian curry chicken.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's your basic
That'd be
fried
awesome.
chicken, and it's dusted in curry powder, and it's served with tikka masala sauce.
Wow.
Oh, gosh.
That's that, you know what? That's so very Korean, because the Koreans just like to try anything, don't they?
Oh yeah, so many new things. Always
It's so cool.
throw everything up against the wall and see what sticks.
Exactly. No, the Koreans are good like that. And do you have any favorite Korean foods, or a Korean food that you think maybe a traveler should try when they're in Korea?
Okay. Well, you already listed the main stars.
I did.
The-
I mentioned
the
tteokbokki.
the top 40 hits. I'm going to mention some of the more underground indie stuff.
Good.
The
I love
grunge
indie.
foods.
Oh yeah, Nirvana. The Nirvana of of Korean cooking.
Yes, the 1989 Nirvana, not the 1992 Nirvana.
All right.
The Pixies.
The heart-shaped box.
The Pixies.
I love the Pixies.
Okay, a lot of people outside Korea are not familiar with dakgalbi. It's chicken galbi.
No,
that is, but anyone who's lived in Korea puts that in their top 3 favorite dishes. It is usually it's boneless chicken thighs, either stir fried in a pan at the table with root vegetables and cabbage in a spicy sauce. Oh. Or the new way is a supul, which is charcoal grilled. It's really hard to find that in Seoul because it comes from Chuncheon in Gangwon province.
Okay,
and it's such a lovely dish. It's so addictive. People just love dakgalbi, and lots of times you order it with cheese on top. It's really fun.
Oh, how do you spell dakgalbi?
There are many ways to spell it. I spell it DALKGALBI.
Dakgalbi. Okay, I'll have to look out for that when I go to Korea next. So dakgalbi. Joe, can you recommend any restaurants that people can go to when they're in Seoul? Maybe they've just arrived in Seoul or don't really know where to go and they don't want to go to a Starbucks.
Yeah, the trick is when I mention a restaurant, likely it'll be out of business by the time it airs. I can tell you one thing. I give you lots of tips about what to avoid.
Okay, that's probably better.
But I can give you tips about what a good restaurant looks like if you're wandering around. Okay, avoid Myeongdong, Insadong, and Gangnam. The Gangnam is kind of a gray area, but Myeongdong, there's only one good Korean restaurant in Myeongdong, and that's Tutu Fried Chicken. Everything else, the reason is Myeongdong is kind of Korea's Times Square. And since that there are only tourists there, there's hardly any locals there. And so the rent is so high now in Myeongdong that they priced out all the good restaurants.
I stayed in Myeongdong. It was a good place to stay, though.
Oh, it's a good place. It's a good, convenient place to stay as far as location, but eat out. In fact, if you go on the edges, on the outskirts of Myeongdong to Ujiro, around that area, there's lots of great restaurants in those areas. If you just walk just a couple of blocks away, you got lots of great restaurants, but Myeongdong itself is just dead for food. Insadong is also a very touristy area.
I was in Myeongdong. The nightlife is pretty good, and they do have the food that the street food that gets set up there every night.
Okay, my exception is street food. Myeongdong has crazy street food.
Yeah, it's delicious street food. That's where. I mean, I should have probably. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, don't do a sit-down restaurant in Myeongdong, though. Don't. Especially, there's one place called Myeongdong Gyoja that people line up for, and some people love it. Most people are kind of like, There's much better places.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Insadong, I used to have an office in Insadong for years, and I was frustrated with Insadong because I could not find decent lunches there. There's not much good food in Insadong. It's all touristy restaurants. But if you go one block over to Jungno 3ga, Jungno 3ga, it's full of great restaurants. Oh, Ikseondong. Stay away from Ikseondong. That's the new hot, trendy hipster area. It's right near Insadong and Jungno, and it's all these old Hanok buildings. Hanok is our traditional houses that have been renovated.
I love Hanok. They're the best.
What kills me is they've kind of pillaged these buildings.
They've commercialized it, yeah.
And to put crappy Italian restaurants and cake cafes in there. All the food. If all the food in Ikseondong is awful. Okay. It's just horrible. It's a horrible. It's like a Tim Burton nightmare in there. It's just freaky. And
you don't like Italian restaurants.
I don't like bad Italian restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now you're going to see me getting all negative. All right. So yeah. Avoid those areas. Avoid lots of restaurants with a line. Lines are deadly, and so lines are Velcro. People line up just to line up. They don't even know what they're lining up for, especially if the line consists of young couples. Even more so if the man in the couple looks like he really doesn't want to be there. Even triply so if they're wearing couple shirts.
Ooh.
It's likely the reason is they're lining up because they saw it on Instagram and they're just going there for the gram. It is just trendy
Instagram.
for being trendy. One proof of this is a few summers ago, people stood in line for an hour for churros. Churros.
Oh my god!
Yeah, they can get churros anywhere.
They stand in line for a new bloody donut shop.
Yeah, well, this summer it was black sugar tea from Taiwan.
Okay.
And people stood in line for an hour for a cup of bubble tea.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do that.
No.
Yeah, I'm not into
and that's what these lines are for. Don't trust lines.
Don't trust lines. So, listener, don't trust any lines.
Right. But unless the line has older people, which is rare.
Right.
If you see a line of older people, that means that it's really good and they have limited supply.
Okay, so if the line has really old people with couples T-shirts, no.
Take a picture. I want to see that.
That would be so weird.
Oh, it'd be great.
Oh my god!
Look at the people inside. If it's really busy, salary workers, lots of salary workers. Usually, it's a really good restaurant. Lots of old people tends to be a good restaurant. Chicken places, if it's full of middle-aged men who look like life has kicked them in the teeth, it's a great chicken restaurant, especially if the windows are greasy. Yeah, those are the best places. Those really are the best places. I've never gone wrong. If the interior kind of looks like an old country inn, that usually tends to be good. But on the other hand, if it looks like they spent a lot of money on the look of the place, it's usually not very good.
Right, so stay away from anywhere that actually looks good because you want to go to a restaurant that looks pretty crappy because you know inside will be good food.
Well, it just looks natural. It just looks like it looks like that they concentrated more on the menu and the quality of the food than they did on how it looks.
Right.
It's just been consistently.
If anyone wants to go out to a restaurant when they're in Korea, maybe ring Joe on 04.
No, don't call me. I hate that. Don't you? Okay, so I have these certain Facebook friends that I never hear from them until they text me and say, "Hey, do you have any recommendations for Hongdae?"
Oh my god, they're not friends. They just want your blood, Joel. Joel. What did I call you? Just Joel.
That's okay. Call me
Joel before.
Maybe, sure. I've been called Jack. John.
Well, Jack. So, Joe.
Anyway, okay, let me give you recommendations of actual restaurants. Right. Let me think of some good Korean restaurants. There's, of course, where we go to on our barbecue tour is called Mapojong Depot.
Mapojong Depot. Yep.
Yeah. There's some good Korean restaurants. If you look for anything called Sutbul Dakabi, that's always really good. There's a new trend. This is the exception of my rule about lines out the door. Yeah. This one has a line and it does have young couples, but
couples t-shirts.
But there's a mix. There's also old men in there, and that's also a good sign. It's called Nulungji Tongdak. Nulungji Tongdak. What it is, it's a new thing. It's a new thing, and I put this on my new chicken tour. Because it's so darn good. It is fire roasted chicken.
Yeah.
As in wood fire roasted chicken with medicinal herbs. It's split open, butterflied, and served on top of a bed of sizzling crispy rice. And it's so addictive. Crispy skin.
That sounds amazing.
And juicy. And every person I've taken there, even the people that say, it's our second stop on the chicken tour, and they go, "Oh, I'm so full." Then they sit there, and in less than 5 minutes, it's like velociraptors just ripped into the carcass. There's nothing but bones left.
Jeez, I'd like to see that.
It's so good.
I'd like to see people eat food. That's a nice sign. They're happy. People are happy when they eat good food.
It's a good place. I think that's another sign that even though there's a line out there aren't many people taking photos of the food, even though it makes gorgeous photos. It makes great video because of the sound of the sizzling chicken at your table. And that is such a good place. If you're going for the high end, most people will say Jongsikdong and Mingles, which I also agree with. But one that's not in the Michelin Guide is Kongdu, Congdu. The reason is it is high end. It is fine dining Korean food, but it's really advanced food. It's not for beginners. So there's some dishes you might not get. You know, it's like when you listen to like maybe like 20th century classical music and your ear's not trained for it, you go like, oh man, this is garbage. This is noise. Same thing with this place. If you're not familiar with Korean flavors, the fermentation and everything, you'd be like, ooh, this is, you know, something's off with this dish. But no, that's actually not a flaw. It's a feature. It's some really amazing dishes. One example is my favorite. One of their signature items is a semi-dried fish. They just serve with rice and green tea that you dip the fish in. The fish is salted and then dried on the coast only in winter. And what happens while it's drying is it freezes during the night and then thaws during the day. And so what happens when something's freezing in the night and thawing during the day and repeating over and over? Freezer burn. But in this case, it's funky. It's kind of stinky in a good way, like a stinky cheese. But it also has a slight freezer burn, but it's actually good. It's like tasty freezer burn. The only time freezer burn is a good thing is this one fish they serve, and I love it. And you put it on your rice and you dip it in this green tea from these great tea fields, and it's so good. It's a glorious dish. The other dish I recommend is 간장게장. It's soy pickled raw crabs. If you can get those, get that. Oh, it's so elegant.
Oh my! I really do enjoy eating crab. Good quality crab.
Yeah, and this is one is you can't skip on quality on 간장게장. You got to have really fresh, great crab, great soy sauce for that one.
Ooh, you're really making me want to go back to Korea tomorrow because I'm so hungry now.
You're giving me ideas for lunch.
I actually had Korean dumplings for lunch.
Oh, that's great.
Believe it or not. But I cooked them up myself.
Were they meat or were they kimchi?
Kimchi and prawn.
Ooh, those are the good ones. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
They were super delicious. And it was just by chance that I was going to have you on today. I didn't think, I'm going to eat some Korean dumplings before I get Joe on.
Well, I'm glad you're able to source them.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Well, I just go, I think I got them from Costco. There's some good ones I get from Costco.
Lovely.
Yeah, so thank you, Costco.
It's funny that you're going to Costco for Korean food and I go to Costco for bacon and cheese.
Well, I can go to Costco for bacon and cheese too. Don't worry, I love bacon and cheese.
Well, it's like the only place I can get decent bacon and cheese in Korea. So that's the only reason for a Costco membership. Bacon and cheese and whiskey.
Yes, true. We're going to talk about whiskey at some stage. But talking about Costco, what are some really lovely tourist attractions that you'd recommend people to see if it's their first time in Seoul?
Okay, so do a temple, do a palace, do a temple, do Gwanghwamun Square. Get all that. You can get all that stuff done in one day. I mean, if you want to do Bukchon, because everyone does Bukchon, it's just crowded with tourists.
Oh, the cultural village.
Yeah, the Hanok village. If you're into shopping, check out Myeongdong. If you're not into shopping, don't go to Myeongdong. Ensol Tower is nice if the air is clear. But if you're into for the foodies, I recommend Noryongjin Fish Market.
Oh, okay. Noryongjin. Where's that?
That's south of the river, right by Yeouido Island. That's a fun place. Basically, it's like an aquarium where you can eat the exhibits because everything's live. The trick there, my tips. I actually have a guide to that on my website as well. What I recommend is going to a vendor, preferably on the second floor, because that's where all the restaurants are. Go to a vendor.
So you can eat fresh fish there.
Yeah, that's what's great is you go pick your fish, you pick your shellfish, pick one fish, pick one swimming fish, pick a bunch of shellfish and shrimp, pay for it at the vendor. Now, most all the vendors are connected to a restaurant. I mean, actually, some of them own the restaurants. So they will take your catch and they will guide you to a restaurant. And don't just trust them. They're not gonna screw you over.
Okay.
They'll hand your catch over to a server. The server likely will ask you a bunch of questions in Korean. You just say yes. She's just asking you how you want this cooked, how do you want this done. Just or do you want this grilled? Do you want this steamed? Do you want this fried? Just say yes, and then go sit down, order some soju. And this is one of the few cases I would get the green bottle soju because it works well with the fish. Order some soju, and it's great. The New Noryeongjin market was very controversial because it lost a lot of its rustic character. But on the bright side, the restaurants are much better. There aren't roaches crawling on the walls. It has nice views of Yeouido. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Wow. Okay, so that's cool. What about if people are into parks and gardens and botanic gardens and so forth like that? Is there some good ones around Seoul, after they've seen like a museum or seen a palace? Where can they go?
I'm a fan of, the big museum in Icheon, the National Museum in Icheon, and they're right next to it is Yongsan Family Park. Yep. That's a wonderful park to stroll on the grounds of the museum itself. So if you want to do that. I've recently rediscovered the area around Jeongmyo Shrine. That's also near all the palaces. That's lovely. It's lovely. But I'm trying to think of places like if you're looking for something similar to like a Zen garden in Kyoto. Seoul Forest. Seoul Forest is a place to go to.
Okay, is that just large promenades of walking paths? And
There's a new park that was finished in Hongdae called I think it's the Yeonway. It's the rail line park. I love strolling up and down this. It follows this train track. And they created this strip of park following this train track, and it's beautifully themed. And what's lovely is walking down it at night. That. Yeah, walking down it at night, and there's these little pubs that are half basement pubs, and it's so romantic at night. You have these nice little pubs right on the side of this park. It's gorgeous.
Oh wow! Okay, so I should take the wife there when I go next.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the future of tourism in Seoul. That go there before the tourists invade that area. It's really nice, really romantic.
And do you recommend going up and down the river? Where you've I like that. What did you just pour?
That was
so ASMR.
It's just more coffee. I bring the pot into my office.
That's awesome. That creek or that little river.
Oh, Cheonggyecheon Stream. Oh my gosh, I forgot. Yeah, the Cheonggyecheon.
I like that place.
It's gotten better over the years. It's great. It's really cool. Right now, it's the Lantern Festival going on there. But
that's what I was at last year at the Lantern Festival.
Oh yeah, that's going on right now. Yeah, it's over the years, the city has really figured out ways to utilize this space. So it's gotten more artsy. Each section has a different theme to it, but they're not obvious with what the theme is. So that's what's kind of fun, is figuring out what the theme of each area is. And the further downstream you go, the wilder it gets, the more natural. Like it goes from stone to dirt paths. And I still have yet to walk the entire route. I think it's 7 kilometers.
I nearly did it.
Wow, I really want to do it one day.
Where was it? I was at the there's a American burger chain restaurant.
Not Burger, because that's what I used to own.
Yeah, and it's not In and Out. It's the one that's set up in New York.
Shake Shack?
Shake Shack. So I went from that Shake Shack, that area of Seoul.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went all the way back to where city.
Oh wow! So you went the opposite way.
Station.
Yeah,
yeah. I went from where it starts all bushy to where it just finishes really nicely.
Oh,
and you got that little waterfall that starts it off.
Yeah.
I've gone the reverse way, and when Mandy, my wife, and I did it last year. It was awesome. People were everywhere taking photos, and it's great for families.
Yeah.
Just families, kids in strollers and stuff. It's so cool.
Yeah. The only flaw, I think, with the design of it is they put a street on the edge, and that they missed an opportunity to actually have places to build restaurants and cafes right on the edge of this river. And that's
true. They
only flaw, but everything else is really nice.
Now, Joe, if you could travel anywhere out of Seoul, where would you go and where would you recommend a traveler to go?
I went there this summer. I was planning a road trip all around Korea this summer, and everything just deep sixed it. So all I could salvage was the one place I really wanted to go back to, and it's Andong. It's
Andong.
Andong. It is not at the top of any tourist brochures or tourist guides or anything. Even Koreans are not like, it's not on the top of their list. But I used to host a travel show on Arirang TV.
Really?
I was a host of a TV show, and it's a horrible one. Don't it's online, but don't watch it
right now.
Oh no.
Oh God.
Just note that I didn't have a choice in my wardrobe for that show.
What, do you have crazy clothes?
Yes. They're like,
do they make you wear a silly hat?
Like 80s style, like zebra pattern jacket and stuff like that.
But that's awesome if it was filmed in the 80s.
Day glow colors and stuff.
Oh, day glow. Wow.
And then they did my hair, so it's just really nerdy. I don't know. And the script is so bad, but it gave me an opportunity to go around the country, which I don't have time to do because I'm so busy. And I got to really get the feel for the cuisine and the locations. And Andong is one of the few places I've traveled to outside of that show that I really just keep going back to. I just love that place. And it goes back in time. Very small downtown area.
So does it feel like old Seoul or something?
Yeah, it does.
It have connection?
It does, but there's also this place called Hawei Village, Folk Village, which is a village preserved in time, like a Chosun Dynasty style village that's still working. The only downside of the village these days, I was really angry, is some company pushed through an ordinance that allowed them to have motorized vehicles. They have to be electric, but they're motorized vehicles in the village. So you have these people zooming around on golf carts and electric scooters, and it kills the atmosphere.
Yuck. That would feel like it's what is it, Disneyland or something like that?
Yeah, and the thing is, it's supposedly it's a UNESCO heritage site, and I really think UNESCO should threaten to revoke it, but because of the traffic there now, because the appeal of that place was always how quiet it was, and you could just walk around it, this folk village. Nonetheless, it is still worth a visit and worth watching the mask dance. The mask dance is great. It is okay. It looks like this great family friendly thing, but then you watch it and it's like, oh my God, cover the kids' eyes for this one. It gets a little raunchy.
Ooh,
it's pretty funny.
Can you mention something?
Yeah, there's one part. It's the maiden and the monk, and the maiden is passing by the monk, and the maiden thinks the monk is not looking, where the monk is hiding, and the maiden goes and pees on the ground. She walks off.
Maiden?
She thought she was in private, so she goes and pees on the ground. She walks off. The monk goes and smells her pee and gets all horny and pursues the maid.
It sounds like what cats do.
Yeah, it was. Oh my God.
That's what my cats do.
One of the scenes of this mask dance, and it's my mouth just dropped. Like, wow.
I'm a bit hot under the collar now, so just changing tack for a second.
It is worth a visit. It's like, wow, they were raunchy back then. It's entertaining. It's really entertaining. I really recommend seeing that.
Okay, I'll have to go there at some stage. I really want to go to Jeju Island and pick up a bunch of face stuff for my face.
Jeju's great as well. Jeju is great. I mean, a lot of the places are great. Cool. I also say one of the unsung areas is Gangwon Province. That's where the Pyeongchang Olympics were, and it's the most rural province in South Korea. But the food there is really good, and they're really trying to develop the area for tourism. Gangneung on the East Coast is developing very well. They even have craft beer breweries there. Soraksan Mountain is gorgeous. It's very crowded in the autumn. Like right now, it's extremely crowded, but it is a gorgeous mountain to hike on. And just going through that countryside, if there's any way you can go to that countryside in Gangwon, to me, that's the heart of Korea. Every time I've gone there, I just feel it. I really feel it.
the food is really good there.
It's nice. Okay.
Yeah, those areas. Oh, excuse me, I had a hiccup. Those areas are great.
No, yeah, that's all right.
Those areas are great. My other tip is the DMZ. You can try to do DMZ. It, but there is an 80% chance your tour will get canceled.
Yeah, mine got canceled when I was there.
Every time my guests on the tours are like, yeah, my DMZ tour got canceled. All the time. Especially if they can't go to the JSA, the Joint Security Area, it's not worth the trip. It really isn't.
Why did they cancel it all of a sudden?
Because it's not a tourist spot, and because of all the talks with North Korea going on, and they're sifting for mines, and they're really trying to work on stuff with North Korea right now, doing some joint projects. And JSA is not a tourist site. It's a site set up by the UN in North Korea to do talks. Diplomacy. So if there's any international VIP there, they're going to close down the tours.
Oh, okay. So over time, it's become a tourist spot.
Yeah, because for a long time there was a stalemate. So there were no VIPs there. It was just soldiers, guards staring each other off. So like, okay, we'll make tours there. And it's fun. Okay. When my first month in Korea, I did it, and it is, I wouldn't say fun. It's a very stark experience. I mean, it's fun in the sense that the Holocaust Museum is fun. It is dark tourism.
I'm so happy you mentioned dark tourism.
Oh yeah,
because I was going to say I love that Dark Side of Seoul tour that I did with Sean, and we had chats on dark tourism. Sean and I, and we loved it. But
it's a good tour. I think so.
Yeah, no. Which one? Dark Side of Seoul.
Dark Side is a good tour.
And Sean's tour and my tour are starkly different too.
Oh, really?
They've grown apart. They
are quite different.
Yeah, they've grown apart.
Well, Sean's got that beautiful, soft Canadian accent, and you've got that very velvety Houston accent.
Alabama, maybe. Yeah.
Alabama.
No, I say Sean's tour is Korean horror movies and
folklore, and my tour is history and dad jokes.
I love dad jokes.
That's my tour.
So you've got a few more tours. I was looking at your website. You've got the Ultimate Korean Barbecue Night Out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
and the good thing is your tour lists all the prices too, so people know exactly what they're paying for.
Right, right, and we really try to price them fair. They're all inclusive, which is why they're more on the high end. It includes everything.
Okay.
A lot of the cheaper tours that you still have to pay for the food separately. So we do that and price it so that my guides will at least, walk home with some money, because they don't get paid a salary. They actually share their partners, so they get a profit. They're paid by whatever money's left over. So that's how we price it that way. The barbecue tour, that one is that was the first one we ever created, and it's our most popular food tour. It's the same barbecue place we took Anthony Bourdain, so it's on Parts Unknown with Anthony Bourdain.
Oh, another question I want to ask you. Oh my God, you just keep leading me into my next questions. That's so funny. I was going to list all the tours, but people can go on your website to have a look at all your
we're developing
tours.
New ones too. We have a cool Instagram tour we just launched.
What's that? Drink Soul, a Liquid History? No, that's something.
Oh no,
else,
no. Instagram.
Oh, is this just an Instagram tour?
Yeah, it's really
for
quick.
Like people wanting to take photos.
Yeah, so if you don't want to spend all that money on one of our expensive, this is our lower price tour. But what it is, it's really for the people who don't have a lot of time, or people who are really into Instagram and don't know exactly where to go. So what we've done is we consolidated all these spots into a 1.5 hour tour. And we take you to all these places, and if you go on the website, you see the photos that we took, and we were just walking around, just an hour and a half, the photos that we got, and we had basically a month's worth of content in just an hour and a half.
It's a bloody brilliant idea, mate.
Yeah, it's great for couples because there's lots of great selfie places, great places to take your photos with your friends. On this one, it's a night tour, and the guide she's an expert on Instagram. so she can help optimize your account. And it's just, I think our introductory price right now is just $25 a USD.
That's cheap.
Yeah. We're going to raise it in the future, but we're right now we're still in the testing phase. So go ahead, if you're in Seoul, check it out. It's a good way to just catch all the major sites in just a couple of hours. Even one of the places where we did some B-roll for Anthony Bourdain as well, just those iconic neon streets of Seoul. We go to some places for that as well.
Okay. I will ask you more about Anthony Bourdain in a second.
No, sure.
But so all the prices on the website are all USD, aren't they?
Yes.
It's pretty good. I think the most expensive tour you've got is that Drink Seoul.
It is.
History of Korea.
It is
$99.
I am going to introduce a more expensive one soon. We're going to do a premium meat lovers tour. And that's going to be around $150 because it's high-end Hanu beef, which is similar to Kobe, Japanese Kobe. And we go to this meat market, and it's not for the squeamish. It is a horror film. It is Seoul. It's Mahjong Market is Seoul's main meat market. Most of the restaurants in Seoul get their meat from here, and so it is mammals being turned into food. It's not a slaughterhouse, but it is. You do get to see a lot of carcasses and innards and severed heads. Yeah. But what we do is we buy some meat similar to the fish market. We buy some meat from a vendor and we go to a restaurant and we grill it. But
that's why it costs that much money.
But it's super high end meat, and Korea has some of the most expensive beef prices in the whole world. And so that's why it's on the high end. But we're testing it out now, and so far so good. And people agree.
So you're testing, okay?
So the people that I've tested it with have agreed that's a fair price point for what you get.
Okay, that makes sense. You got to do all your testing. Have you got any other food tours or any other tours you're thinking of doing?
Well, we have the chicken and beer, the Korean chicken and beer, which is lovely. That's my favorite tour. It's my favorite food tour. I just love it. Where we go to 3 different places, and it's not just fried chicken. In fact, fried chicken's saved until the very end. We go to places I've already talked about.
In Hongdae, yeah.
No, it was in Hongdae. I had to close that because some of the places were going out of business or moving away. Yeah.
Okay, because I saw probably a couple of months ago when I was doing research, it was the Hongdae chicken and beer.
Yeah, I had to kill it. It made me so sad. It really made me sad because that was a good one. But I tested out a new one in the meantime, and it's in Gyeonghuigung. Yeah. And it's
Gyeonghuigung.
Yeah, it's the charcoal grilled chicken galbi. It's that nudenji tongdok, that fire roasted chicken on sizzling rice, and then we finish at a tutu chicken, which is good 90s style chicken, fried chicken, and it's so much fun. And lots of beer, lots of chicken, lots of beer, and everyone that's been on it has loved it.
You know what I want to do now, don't you? I want to go get myself some Korean chicken and get myself some Korean beer. Because I love Korean beer too. They're delicious.
Which, you talking about the height?
No, hate height. I don't like height at all. I like the other one. Cloud.
Cass? Oh, Cloud. Well, Cloud's different.
Cloud's the best beer in the world, man.
Oh, we have a new one now called Terra. And it's now beating Cloud for supremacy as far as flavor and popularity. Yeah, but Cloud is also excellent. Cloud, spelled with a K, is the only mass-produced beer in Korea produced according to German standards.
But it's really good, though. Oh, yeah, that's right. It says on the bottle that they're brewed at the same, under German standards, which I'm guessing Bavarian.
Yeah, and the new Terra is brewed with Australian golden malt.
Oh, really? So it's Aussie style.
It's an Aussie style. It's really nice. It's really nice. Honestly, I don't mind height and Cass anymore. After we started getting the
that sound again. You make me want to go to the toilet every time you pour.
We are recording a long time. After the craft beer movement happened in Korea, which is around 2012, and now finally we started getting decent beer in Korea. Then I started going to Korean chicken and beer places and having craft beer. It did not work. The Korean mass-produced beers work best with Korean food. I'm serious about it. So
Really, Cass works. I've gone back to drinking Cass, but it's a table beer. It's not something that you drink. Okay. It's not something you sit at a bar and you have a glass of Cass and sip it with while deep thought. It's really something you have to accompany food. And it does work with Korean fried chicken.
Okay. So Cass and Korean fried chicken best friends.
Any of the mass-produced beers. With fried chicken is great. The light Pilsners.
Talking about Anthony Bourdain, did you have a close working relationship with him? How well did you know him?
Well, no, I was hired to do consulting and being a fixer for the show when they came to Seoul the last time.
Is that no reservations?
It was for parts on the CNN
parts
show.
Unknown. Oh, that was pretty recent.
It was 2014.
Yeah, he was a pretty inspirational guy. I must admit, I loved his work.
Oh yeah, he's one of the reasons I decided to drop everything and move overseas. Yeah.
Wow. Were you as upset as me when you found out that he died?
Yeah, I'm still getting over it.
It's pretty sad. Like, I feel really bad for the guy. Obviously, he had no one to talk to. Otherwise, I'm sure his choice would have been to probably not hang himself.
I can't speculate on the details. I mean, I think
He could have talked to Eric Repair, but and I've met Eric too. Eric's a great guy.
Yeah, I like his show. He's got a food show on Netflix. Eric,
he does?
And he's great. Yes, he does. Do you not know
Eric.
that? And parts of it are filmed in Australia.
That might have been the show that he was filming in Korea too. It was a few years ago.
It's Korea, Australia, and somewhere else.
The Korean part was filmed a long time ago.
Yeah, well, it's on Netflix somewhere in Australia, but you just got to look for it. But yeah, it's a good show.
He's a great guy. If you ever have a chance to meet him, he is. He's a lovable man, and he's handsome he's handsome. Bourdain was handsome too. Bourdain was handsome.
Oh yeah, Bourdain is very handsome.
He was striking, tall.
Yeah,
and
they're big fellows, aren't they?
And kind of shy. He was really shy. Eric was more
Anthony or Eric.
Anthony was more shy. In my observation,
I heard that Anthony could be a bit of an asshole as well, though.
I saw that side of him, but he had justification for it at that time. They were filming way too late and too much, and he was doing karaoke. He was not in a happy mood. But it was kind of joking. It was kind of like a fight between siblings, and then he just was like, "I'm going back to the hotel. I'm done."
Fair. I pretty much asked you everything. There's some Facebook questions I want to quickly ask you and some final questions.
Oh, yeah, I love to answer Facebook questions.
Okay. But before I ask you any of that, I just want to say that I found your driving in Korea videos, and they make me bloody laugh.
I'll make more then. I'll make more.
I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it though. You drive and you talk at the same time. I'm there in hysterics.
I'm gonna get in an accident one day. What's funny is like when I'm doing it, I'm fine. But then I actually watch them and I'm like, oh my God, how did I not have a wreck then?
It's like you're looking down, they're looking to the side.
Oh yeah, I'm not looking at the camera during that. I'm paying attention to the driving, but I'm always talking to myself when I drive anyway. So why not record me talking to myself?
Oh yeah, and also good work on the comic book you did with Sean. They were my last couple of little notes that I wanted to just talk to you. Well,
that's coming out in December. It's the Dark Side of Soul comic book.
Yeah, no, you guys did a good job there. I was the third backer.
Thank you.
No, you're fine, mate. I like what you guys do. I love what you guys do now.
It's coming together. It's gonna be published very soon, and we're already working on volume 2.
Good man. Well, I've got some Facebook questions now.
Sure.
I've got 4, so you can ask them as quick as you like or as slow as you want. Now, question 1 is asked by a Sean M, and he said, "Who's the best guide working for you?"
Working for we're all partners in this. We're the Avengers.
You're the Avengers, so Sean's no different to anyone else.
Sean is the guide. He is the guide, but yeah, they're all good.
Sean Iron Man.
I'm extremely picky about who works for us, and that is true. I have had a few people, I've tested them out, and I'm like, yeah, you're not a fit for us. I'm really lucky at the people that we have. They're great. Simon, who also helps me with the barbecue tours, and he does other tours. He was one of the interpreters. He's on the Anthony Bourdain show. Oh. He's a chef and a former pilot, so he's got lots of stories. John, who does our Drink Soul tour, he's a bartender and restaurant consultant, so he knows his alcohol. Jasmine does the Gangnam tour. She has a younger person's take on Seoul. She's Korean. So is Simon.
Okay.
Well, John's Korean American. Yes. So Jasmine has a very personal take on Gangnam, and that tour came about because I was talking to Jazz and I said, "There's no good food in Gangnam," and she's like, "Hold my beer." She made the tour, and it's like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, she's really good. She's kind of the I have. Yeah. We're working on a private tour right now for a corporation, and she's the person I always turn to when we're doing private tours because she really knows her stuff. She can really arrange a lot of things. So she's kind of my private tour guru.
Hey, I was going to say, talking about different tour guides and stuff, but do you know the fellow Daniel Tudor?
Yes.
He wrote A Geek in Korea. I have his book.
Yeah,
which is a fantastic book.
He interviewed me for one of his books. Is that in there? I don't know. I haven't read that. I've read his first one. He's great. He's one of the people responsible for the craft beer movement in Korea.
So he's a pretty well known dude.
In the expat circles, he is. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's worked for The Economist.
Yes. I think he started out as, like a lot of people, he started out as an English teacher and then transitioned into journalism, which good on him. God, great. No, and so, he's one of our success stories because it's hard to be successful here as a foreigner. And he did very well.
Fair enough. Now, we got Facebook question 2 asked by Karina J. How did you get started in the tour travel industry, and what was it that brought you to Korea? Which I think we've spoken a bit about that, but yeah.
Yeah, it was an airplane that brought me to Korea.
Isn't it? There you go. That was nice and quick.
Travel tourism. Well, that's kind of funny. I during my first year, I noticed how difficult it is to navigate the restaurant scene here, as far as knowing how to order, what to order. It was very dense. It's very, very dense foliage trying to figure out how to do it. So I was lucky that I had people show me how to do things, and I wanted to help others because it frustrated me because there was so much good food in Korea. And I'm talking about 2004, back when Korean food didn't have the popularity, and a lot of people said they come to Korea and they hated the food, they hated the restaurant experience. And I went, what? Yeah. And so I figured out that it's because they just weren't aware of how to do things here. It's a little bit of a different restaurant culture. And so they were coming back really disappointed. And so I wanted to make the tours to help bridge that gap, help people see the greatness of Korean food, and give them tips on how to make their trips better, which is another reason I recommend taking our tours early in your travels here, so we can give you the tips. Because it's made me so sad that I get people on my tours at the end of their trips and they tell me all these horror stories. And I was like, oh, if you had just contacted me before, I could have helped you prevent that.
Yeah, I mentioned that in a podcast episode recently. If you're ever in a country and you want to do the best thing in that city or so forth, do a tour early, and usually the tour guide will give you some places to go to. So, yeah, you're not lost, or you're not left. You're not leaving the country unsatisfied in that sense, I guess.
I agree. And another thing I would say, and I was going to try this when I was last in Hong Kong, but I did research it, was get a mix between local and expat guides.
because each one has a really unique take on it. I usually use this analogy as like the people who grew up there are kind of like the fish in a pond, and they really know the intricacies of the pond. And I say the expats are more like the ducks. They live at the pond, but they've seen other ponds, and they know what's really cool about this pond that the fish are not aware of. That's my little analogy.
That's like a metaphor. That's a metaphor. That's beautiful.
And so try both, because there's some really great it looks like some really great food tours in Hong Kong done by expats from different cultures around the world, and I'm like, ooh, those are really cool, because those are the types of things I want to see, and so that's what I want. Yeah, so do a good mix.
Okay, do a good mix. You one solitary listener. Now, this Kylie P has asked 2 questions, and then that will be it for Facebook questions and the final questions. So Kylie asks, what are the hidden places in Korea people should go and see?
Oh.
And she also asks, what are the best restaurants or venues to eat food in Korea, which we've kind of talked about already.
Yeah. Hidden places I've sort of talked about as well. What are some places? Well, hold on. Let me think. Avoid Gangnam. Except unless you do Jasmine's Store. Haewa. Haewa is kind of interesting. It's northeastern Seoul. There's another fun little university district.
Haewa.
It's also our theater district. That's kind of fun. There's a great restaurant. There's a great pub there called Mix and Malt, but it's not Korean food. But it's a great pub. But there's great Korean food in that area. On Sundays, there's the Filipino market right outside Haewa Station, Exit 1. That's just a fun, cool mix with Korean and Philippines right there. That's one of those little unique little places. Oh goodness, because I do have my favorite hidden places in Seoul, and now I'm trying to bring them back in my head. The suburbs are great. The subway system is extensive. It's clean. It's cheap. It's fast. Don't do surface transportation when you can do subway, because it's usually faster.
Subway's better
because it's so extensive. You can go to the suburbs fairly easily. I live in the suburbs, and it's easy for me to get in and out of Seoul. So if you have a good week or 10 days, do take a train to my favorite little restaurant in Andong. It's south of Seoul, and it's called Sanmal Boribap. And it's on the southern foot of Gyeongbokgung Mountain. So make it I have these little hidden places around there. So do a little, don't hike the full mountain. It's a big mountain, but hike it a little bit, and then go down and treat yourself to this restaurant, which caters to hikers. And it's very traditional country style Korean food. Get the barbecue chicken.
That's very cool.
It tastes like bacon.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to think some other hidden places.
Sounds awesome.
I also recommend for single travelers heading to an expat bar. If you want to meet people, I would suggest Maloney's. I suggest Tom's Pizza. I know it's a pizza place, but it's kind of a bar too. Route 66. Those are the places to meet people, especially Maloney's. Maloney's, people will just approach you and just say, hey, and introduce themselves to you. And then you go. You got a friend, a possible travel buddy, great recommendations for your time in Seoul. A lot of people have taken that advice, and they've been happy with that. I love wandering streets. The other thing I suggest doing is closing your eye get a subway map, close your eyes, and put your finger on it and travel there. A lot of people have done that. This isn't really a sightseeing city. It's more of a doing city. So just pick a random neighborhood and explore it. It's really so cool. It's really, you will get your most stories from that. And that is one of the points of travel, is to come back with stories, with party conversation. And that you'll have memorable moments from doing that.
Now, so the final question, sir.
Okay.
Okay. If you could travel anywhere in the world right now, where would you like to be?
My Mecca, can you believe I've lived in Asia for 15 years and still have not gone, is Chiang Mai.
Chiang Mai in Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, in northern Thailand.
Yes.
Yeah, my brother came back from there recently. It's awesome.
I went there for food. for food. It just seems to be the place
scenery's
I want
nice.
to go to. Yeah, whatever. I want to go there for food. I really want to go there for
Fair
food.
enough.
I've been before I came to Korea, and I first saw Chiang Mai on Anthony Bourdain's A Cook's Tour, his first show. I saw that, and I've been wanting to go there. And I was supposed to go there this year, and things got in the way.
Yeah.
And
oh my God,
I gotta go.
Why didn't you get there?
It's like I cannot die until I go to Chiang Mai. I know everyone else has been to Chiang Mai, and I'm like, but I haven't. It's really the place I really am dying to go to so badly.
Yeah,
but the thing is,
definitely
I want to spend ample time there. I want to spend at least a week there eating.
Just do it.
Eating. When do I have
just
a week
go?
Free? I don't have a week free.
Oh, you got to give yourself a week off.
I might do it. Around the New Year, Chinese New Year.
Oh yeah, January,
but it's going to be expensive.
Mid-Jan, something.
It might be too. It might be the worst time to go because everything will be closed.
Maybe.
That's another thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nah. Don't come to Korea during the holidays. Chuseok and Lunar New Year. Check out when those times are. Chuseok's usually in September. It's our Thanksgiving, and lots of places are closed then. And same thing with Lunar New Year. And if you're going to come to Asia for Lunar New Year, go to someplace other than Korea because they have more exciting celebrations than we have here. It's sad to say. No, if you're coming here for celebrations, come here for Buddha's birthday in May. That is amazing. It's Christmas in spring. I call it Buddhamas. It's great.
Buddhamas. Very nice. Very nice. I'm sure people will come to South Korea and Seoul when they get time off. So, I mean, they could possibly come in a time that's not very good, but then thank you for the word of advice anyway.
You can come to Korea any time of year, though. You're going to find something good any time of year. I'm just saying the most optimal parts are spring and autumn.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's when I went. So I loved autumn in Korea. Autumn in Chiang Mai would be quite different. It'd be very hot and humid. So that's a good choice.
Chiang Mai in winter just to give me a break from the Korean winter.
Yeah, you want to get rid of the heat. In Chiang Mai or anywhere, this is the second question, what would you be eating or drinking? So you don't have to be eating Thai food. You could be eating anything or drinking anything in the world.
Well, I heard there's a really great Indian restaurant there, but maybe I'll go there later on. I just want to have whatever is local. I don't even know. That's what I want to do. Is like I don't have a specific food I want to eat. I want to be surprised. I want to wander in places, or I have a guide there. And I just want to have something that's going to blow, just really be different from change my worldview. Something that's going to just widen my palate. I want to try something like I've heard there's like fried frog skins or something like that. I'm like, oh, I want to try that. Things like that. I want to try really fun things there.
And drinking frog's gizzards.
For there, of course, Thai iced tea.
Thai tea. Yeah. Thai iced tea.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
And eating
like
frog skin.
Yeah.
It smells like pot.
Yeah.
Nice. Roll me a joint now.
I was at a Thai restaurant years ago in Florida. and it was family run, and their teenage daughter was the server. And I really wanted Thai spicy. She's like, "You sure you want Thai spicy?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want a Thai spicy." And I love the Thai tea. And I'm like, I was telling her, I was like, "I just love Thai tea." And she says, "Yeah, because it smells like pot, doesn't it?" Like, yeah,
it it smells pretty damn good. This has been awesome. Now, what's third of my final question? Right. What's your favorite country and city in the world?
Do they have to be in the same place?
No, definitely not. When people answer that, they'll usually say, for instance, Jamaica and Lisboa or something like that.
Favorite country? I mean, that I've been to?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you would have had to have been there. Yeah, sure.
Okay. I keep going back to Hong Kong. But that's a city. I do love Hong Kong.
It's a city-state in a sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's your favorite city.
Well, no, because I would say London's my favorite city. I would always love going back to London.
Oh, so Hong Kong, in a sense, is your favorite country-ish place.
My favorite Asian city is Hong Kong.
Okay.
The Philippines surprised me the most. I really
that could be another question. What country surprised you the most?
Yeah, I really love the Philippines. The food really impressed me. The people they seem like my types of people. The culture there is very open and inviting. It felt like Florida to me in a way.
Do you like Florida?
Well, I grew up around there, so it's my.
You're Floridian.
I felt at home there. I instantly I made so many friends there in just 10 days. And I really want to go back. I love the Philippines, and not just that. I haven't even been to the touristy areas like Cebu, even though someone was on my tour a couple of nights ago from Cebu, and they really promoted that to me. It's just my place. If I was going to live anywhere else in Asia, it would be Hong Kong or somewhere in the Philippines. Not really Manila. I think it'd just be somewhere else in the Philippines. That's where you'll lose me. Once I go to the Philippines, you're never going to hear from me again.
Okay, so no more Joe.
That's it. I'm just going to immerse myself there, and that's it.
You're going to disappear.
I'll go. What they say. I'll go bamboo. And
you go bamboo.
And I'll just become one of those bedraggled expats sitting at the bar, telling stories, and that no one knows where I came from. No one knows what my story is. I'm just there. Just that old guy with a big gray beard. The old guy that was traveling Asia and just ended up there.
Now he's on the side of the street, holding up a sign saying,
"It's my place." I think I'll end up in the Philippines.
Yeah. So maybe Philippines sounds like your favorite country.
I also love Germany. I used to live in Germany. Miss it a lot. Germany around Christmas time is great. Yeah.
So Germany, Christmas time, Philippines, if you were to move there, and Hong Kong because it's
Hong Kong. I just love
really
Hong
cool
Kong.
Place.
It's just
you love Hong Kong.
It's a wonderful.
And your favorite city is definitely London.
I love London.
Or is it?
Love London. Yes.
Yeah.
Favorite city. New York's up there too, but yeah, love London. Seoul is great too. I love Seoul. If I left Seoul, then Seoul would be my favorite city. But I'm in Seoul, so it's hard for me to oh man, yeah, the place I want to take a vacation from is the place that's my favorite city. No. If once I leave Seoul, if I ever leave Seoul, then my favorite city will be Seoul. But the place
I don't think you'll leave Seoul.
Yeah, who knows?
I think you're stuck there, Joe.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm here.
You're there.
Love it. I love the city.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one reason I do the Dark Side tours to remind me how much I love the city.
Yeah, the Dark Side tour is definitely a great tour. I loved it. And you know what else I love, Joe?
What do you love?
I love talking to you today on my podcast.
Oh, me too. This was fun.
Yeah. No, it was a heap of fun. Gee, what can I say? Thanks for coming on.
Oh, it was a pleasure. I'm glad we finally set it up.
I know, because we were back and forth. People don't know that, but we tried making times to chat, and it just didn't work for either of us, really.
For 2 months now, we've been trying to coordinate this.
For 2 months, yeah. 2 months, and it finally happened.
Because your original questions were about summer in Korea.
They were, yeah, but I changed it up. Yeah, I had to change it up. That's what I was doing before I was speaking to you. That's why I was like, I've got to just hold on a second. I've got to edit this list. And I also added some other questions that I came up with, because this will be like a Seoul travel guide. So,
great.
When people look at my podcast, they will see a Seoul travel guide, which is cool. Now, Joe, if anyone wants to contact you or reach you on any social media, anything like that, where are the best places for people to contact
I'm on
you?
almost every social media platform under ZenKimchi, ZenKimchi. And on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Korean food.
Korean food. Okay, fantastic. And if anyone wants to contact me, they know that I'm Travelman Pod on Twitter, Travelman Podcast. I've got Travelman Podcast on Facebook, on Instagram, Travelman Ben on Instagram. You can listen to my podcast on every podcast app in the world. I'm on Spotify. I'm on, everything. iHeartRadio.
iTunes.
You name it. I'm everywhere. iTunes. I'm on ZenKimchi Tour Tunes.
Google Podcast.
Just make that up.
All that.
Google Podcasts. Yeah, I'm on Google Podcasts. And if you want to email me, like I've had a few emails recently about people wanting to come on the show, I want to hear from you, and I want to have you on if you've got some great stories to tell. It's travelmanpodcast@gmail.com, and the website is www.travelmanpodcast.com. And this has been a Travelman Podcast production. Joe.
Yes.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you. Now, how do we, let's see. Now we need to stop recording.
Okay, here we go. So I click stop recording. Welcome back to the Travelman Podcast. That little intermission of me going downstairs, getting a charger and also a glass of water.
I'm finishing up my coffee.
Now, and you finishing up your ASMR coffee drinking. Which I could just record a whole podcast of you drinking coffee.
Here we go. A little bit left. Hold on.
Okay, do it.
There we go. That's the new thing. Is I should make
to the toilet.
I should make a coffee ASMR channel. There you go.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah,
it would be so popular. I love it.
Odd jobs making websites for dentists and lesbian rugby leagues.
Wow.
Yes.